A dramatic confrontation is unfolding within the Catholic Church, one that could reshape its global structure and influence for decades. The Vatican, under Pope Leo XIV, has issued a final warning to the Society of St. Pius X, or SSPX, a breakaway group of traditionalist Catholics. At the heart of the conflict lies the group's plan to consecrate new bishops without papal approval, a move that would incur automatic excommunication and signify an open challenge to papal authority. To understand the gravity of this situation, we must revisit the origins of the SSPX. Founded in 1970 by Archbishop Marcel Lefebvre, the group was born out of opposition to the Second Vatican Council, which modernized church practices, including the use of local languages in Mass rather than the traditional Latin. The SSPX broke with Rome definitively in 1988, when Lefebvre consecrated bishops without Vatican consent, prompting excommunication. Over the decades, this group has grown into a global entity with its own schools, seminaries, and faithful adherents in over 50 countries. Today, it operates essentially as a parallel church, one that rejects key reforms of modern Catholicism. The latest crisis stems from the SSPX's announcement that it will consecrate 4 new bishops on July 1st. The group argues this is necessary to meet the demands of its growing global following, as its current bishops are aging. But for the Vatican, this act is seen as schismatic, further fracturing an already divided church. Pope Leo XIV, whose papacy began with a promise of reconciliation, faces his first major test. Can he bring the SSPX back into the fold, or will this deepen the rift? The implications of this conflict go far beyond internal church matters. The Catholic Church, with its 1.3 billion members, is not just a spiritual institution, but also a global geopolitical actor. It wields soft power across continents, influencing issues from education to humanitarian aid to diplomacy. A divided church undermines this influence, especially in regions where Catholicism plays a stabilizing role, such as in parts of Africa and Latin America. Moreover, the SSPX's defiance could embolden other traditionalist factions dissatisfied with the Vatican's direction, threatening the Church's unity and its ability to act as a cohesive global player. This crisis also reflects broader global tensions between tradition and modernity, a theme playing out in many societies. The SSPX's rhetoric, emphasizing a return to true Catholic values, is part of a larger conservative reaction against what some perceive as the erosion of moral and cultural foundations. This mirrors political and cultural divides seen in democracies worldwide. But here, the stakes are particularly high, as the outcome could set a precedent for how authority and reform are negotiated within one of the world's oldest institutions. What's striking is how this situation exposes a core vulnerability in hierarchical systems. The Catholic Church's central authority depends on widespread acceptance of papal decisions. The SSPX's growth shows that when factions lose faith in central governance, alternative structures can emerge, challenging the status quo. In a world where institutions, from governments to corporations, are grappling with calls for decentralization, the Vatican's handling of this crisis will be closely watched as a test case. Pope Leo XIV has called for dialogue and prayer, but the SSPX appears steadfast in its decision. The Vatican's options are limited. Heavy-handed measures like excommunication could alienate not just the SSPX, but also sympathetic traditionalists within the Church who feel sidelined by recent reforms. On the other hand, too much leniency risks undermining papal authority, encouraging further challenges. Ultimately, this crisis is a reminder of the fragile balance between tradition and reform in any institution. Whether the Vatican can navigate this without further fragmenting its global influence